Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this particular video, we're going to learn a little bit more about how to play with vectors and some of the characteristics of them. So as you can see, I already have two objects set up here that I'm going to store into my environment. Sue.sales, which is representing how many items Sue sold on a particular day, and Jenny.sales, how many items Jenny sold on a particular day. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Control Enter to store these into my environment, and you can see that they're posted right here off to the right hand side in upper right. Now, one thing you might want to do as you are using R for whatever purposes is you might want to combine two vectors into one vector. And so I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to create another object, another vector called total.sales. And then I have to use the little, I think it's called the less than sign, then the dash, and then I have to use the C function called the concatenate function. So I press C, and now inside this particular function, I'm going to put the names of my first two vectors, Sue.sales and Jenny.sales. So let me just go ahead and do that. Notice how we have the autocomplete here. Put a comma after Sue.sales, and Jenny comes next. Keep in mind, just so you know, the order that I put them in doesn't really matter that much. And then I press Enter. Now I have total.sales. So let's just check to make sure that worked. I put total.sales, and you can see right here at the bottom, it prints out all 12 values. So let's just make sure this is correct. Let's see here. I have 6 values in Sue.sales. I have 6 more in Jenny.sales. So I have 12 altogether. So that's one of the beautiful things you can do in R. This is very, very basic concepts that we're dealing with here. Now, another thing that you can do is you can extract particular values from within a vector or a data frame or whatever. We'll get to those later by using certain coding commands inside R. So for example, let's say I want to know the 5th value of total.sales. I could look and count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that's not very practical when you have hundreds and thousands of rows of data or hundreds of thousands of data points inside a vector. An easier way to do that is you type the variable, so total.sales, and then you use the brackets. The brackets on most keyboards is right next to the letter P. So I press the left bracket, and notice how I get both brackets at the same time, left and right. It's the autocomplete function. And I want to know the 5th value, so I put 5 inside. And then when I press Control Enter, you can see right here that in my console area, it gives me the value for the 5th number inside the vector. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I count manually, the 5th number is 8. When I use the little command with the brackets, it gives me that automatically, 8. That's the beautiful thing. Excuse me. Now, let's say you want to pull several numbers at the same time. This time is slightly different. Total.sales. We use the brackets again. But now, because we want to use several values, we must use the concatenate or the C function in order to do this. So I press C, and then I put my parentheses. And let's say I want to know values 2, 4, and 6. So I put 2, 4, and 6, like so. So these are the values I want to pull. Then I press Control Enter, and look, R gives me values 2, values 4, values 6 inside the total sales vector. Really, really amazing. Again, these are basic concepts. Now, one thing I have to mention for those of you who are already familiar with computer coding, often when you want to extract individual numbers or data points inside of a vector, you start with the number 0. This is very, very common in other languages. However, with R, you start with the number 1. So that's why maybe some people might be confused right now. Now, there's another way to do this as well. Let's say you want to have every value but one value or but several values. I'm going to show you how to do this as well. So we do total sales because that's our super vector. And then we do, let's say I want to know everything but value number 5. So this time I put a minus sign in front of the 5, and then I press Enter. And so now you can see it gave me every value except the value that was in space number 5 inside the vector. And again, following this same logic, I can do the same thing if I don't want to know about several items inside a particular vector. So I do total.sales here. I put my bracket like last time, but because I'm removing several values, I have to use my concatenate sign. But I have to put a minus sign in front of the concatenate function because that tells Moodle include everything but the values that I put inside this function. So I do that, and I'll just keep it simple, 2, 4, and 6. And there you have it. Now, when total sales was printed, you can see here that everything but values 2, 4, and 6 were printed. That's how it works. One last thing that I would like to show you before I finish this video is that it is also possible to change values inside a vector. So I will show you how to do that. We're going to do total.sales, and now we're going to put the brackets again. And now I have to decide which particular value do I want to replace. So to make life simple, I'll replace value number 1. That's what I want to do. So I put total.sales, I put the brackets number 1. This tells R that I want to change the value in number 1. I use the less than sign, put the dash or the minus sign if you will, and I put in my new value. Now, in case you don't know, my value in my first spot inside my vector right now is 4. I'm going to change that value to 12, like so. All right, now let's just make sure that it worked. And you can see right here that the first value is now 12. So you can also, of course, do this for multiple values. And you're probably starting to pick up the pattern now. I do total.sales, like so. Make my brackets. Because I want to do several values, I'm going to use the concatenate function, or C. Get my parentheses. And now I have to decide which values I want to replace. To make life simple, I'm going to replace values 2 and 3. So I'm going to replace the 2 and the 6 right here. I'll replace them with, 9 and 3. That's what I'll do that. And then, oops, sorry. I made a mistake there. I want to get rid of values 2 and 3. So those are my 2 values. And then after I do that, I have to set up, I'm going to put them both to 6. They're going to be both changed to, number 7. So let me explain that again. I'm going to do total sales again. I want to replace values 2 and 3 with the number 7. Oops, that's what I'm going to do. And now I'll view it again just to make sure. And you can see right there, they were changed to the 7s. So that's it. In this particular video, we learned many interesting things. We learned how to combine vectors. That was the first thing that we did when we looked at how we combined the Sue.cells and Jenny.cells. We also learned how to extract values, whether one value or multiple values, how to extract everything but a particular value or values, and we also learned how to replace values inside a vector. So we hope that this video was useful for you, and we thank you for your time. Take care.